Hi everyone, this is Adrian at 18 Echo SF. I've done a number of videos on both of my 45 caliber commander length handguns, but I probably won't be doing anything else to either one of these guns at this point. So I thought I'd make one last video with these two pistols showing you side-by-side comparisons of what I did to, both guns. In some cases, I did the exact same thing. And in other cases, I made one major change, which I'll explain. And for those of you who have watched a couple of my other videos, you'll probably already know that has to do with the changing the full-length guide rod out on the Kimber to a GI style guide rod. Anyway, just to let you know, both these guns have been cleared, by the way. You'll notice, let me pick this one up so I can get behind the camera here. You'll immediately notice the difference in where the guide rod plug exits the frame. On the Colt, it is solid because it has a barrel bushing, as you can see. And on the Kimber, it is hollow because that one is the reverse guide rod plug that I retained with the stock spring and a GI style guide rod, because the Kimber has a bull barrel and does not use a barrel bushing. So that's kind of one difference. I'm not going to tear this down right now, but this gun, as you know, has a GI style guide rod, as I just explained, because I find it much easier to disassemble for cleaning and don't have to worry about using the L-shaped tool that Kimber supplies. This particular gun came with a really nice beaver tail safety. The Colt, on the other hand, its supposed small beaver tail was just not really what I wanted. So I installed a Wilson Combat beaver tail, drop-in beaver tail, and it really did really wonders for the pistol. So that's one additional change on this particular gun. Both guns have VZ grips. These are the Elite Tactical Carry grips. This one is in green, and the exact same grip is in brown. Originally, I got this grip to put on the other gun. No, I'm sorry, let me back up. I got this grip to put on the Colt, which would have looked really nice, but I then changed my mind and decided to put it on the stainless gun, and I really thought it really looked great. I like my guns to look nice, but as you've heard me say in the past, I'm not a gun collector. My guns are strictly used for defensive purposes, and as the saying goes, beware of the man with one gun, because he probably knows how to use it. I'd like to think that I at least know how to use them, since I have a kind of a long history with 1911s. Anyway, now this particular gun, the safety, it had an extended thumb safety on this gun. I changed this out to the thumb safety from a Kimber Aegis, which is a 9mm 1911, and I changed it out because the extended thumb safety bothered my shooting hand, and again, as several of you know, I had to have my thumb amputated. Where the thumb safety, particularly, putting it, when I put it on, particularly where the thumb safety would catch my finger, was pretty painful. So I changed that out, and now it's very easy to get to. And so that was another change that I made to the Kimber. On the Colt, of course, I didn't have to do that. This is a 1991 series, Series 80 gun, and it had the standard short Colt thumb safety, which you know, really works nice. So on both guns, I have changed the sights. The Kimber came with just blacked out sights, which worked really fabulous. I happen to like blacked out sights front and rear. However, my eyes at my age are getting a bit worse, and I was beginning to have a little bit of a problem picking up the front sights. So I decided to try a set of excess sights, the excess big dot sights on this gun. And you can see the sight picture, and it's really fabulous. And as I mentioned when I did the original video on changing those sights out, those sights are really good out to really about 20 yards, maybe 25 yards. Beyond that, the front sight has a tendency to cover up, you know, the whatever you're shooting at. You can see it on that little button there. It has a tendency to cover it up. So, but for defensive use, these sights are fabulous. And even though they are tritium, even the rear one, you can see the tritium line. Let me see if I can get this to focus on here at all. You can see the tritium mark. Both front and rear are tritium. However, I tend to not even look at that rear sight. All I do is put that big white dot on the target, kind of line up as best I can and pull the trigger, and hopefully it'll hit it somewhere in the center. So a friend of mine told me one time, he happened to be a FBI HRT guy, and when I told him about my failing eyes, he said to me, Adrian, forget about lining everything up. He said, just answer these three questions. Did you hit him? Did he go down? And did he not get up? So that pretty much says it all. So I figure that if I can put that big white dot in the center or something, I'll hit him somewhere near the center, and hopefully that will work. Anyway, this has been a really great gun. This is my third Kimber Pro Carry. The other two happen to be black. And then I decided to get a stainless one. And what got me to go to the Colt, this gun is the aluminum frame with a stainless steel slide. So it's very light, even for it's like a lightweight Commander. The Colt, on the other hand, is a combat Commander. So of course it's heavier because it's all steel slide and frame. And I decided that I just wanted to have one of each, and I always wanted a Colt since the last one I had was when I was in the military, which was not a Commander. It was a 5-inch, government model gun. But both guns are really fabulous. I love these grips, by the way. For any of you who have not tried VZ grips, if you've tried other grips, I highly recommend you give them a try. They're like $65 a set. And I have found them to be just tremendous. They're very grippy in this section and very smooth on this top, very back edge and right here. But the rest of it, when your hand grips that gun, there's no way it's going to slip out of your hands even if it's wet. So, and let me just see. I think, one last thing. So I told you about the sights that I changed out on the Kimber. And then just recently, I decided to change out the sights on the Colt. Now, the Colt front sight is staked in place. There's no, a cutout for it. It's just staked. So I didn't really want to have the slide machined, to accept different types of sights. But I found this rear sight from 10.8 Performance, and it is blacked out, as you can see, and it has a wide notch, and you can see, I think you get a pretty good idea of what the front sight looks like through that notch. I have found out after these were put on, since this sight's a little higher, I have to do a 6 o'clock hold when I shoot this gun, as opposed to center of mass with the Kimber. But I'm well used to doing that, so it's no big deal at all. So those are the changes that have been made to both pistols. And like I said, I don't expect that I'm going to be doing anything else to either one of these guns. So, you won't have to have me bore you again with any updates on these two pistols, unless something breaks and if I have some information that I, might think is sensible to pass along to you. So again, I love both guns. As you know, I am a 1911 fan. I have shot and owned some of the polymer pistols, and I like all handguns. They all work well. I just prefer the platform of a 1911, and in the heat of battle, being able to just pick one of these up and not have to think about what I'm doing works really well. In other words, when I pick up a 1911 and that gun comes, I'll just use the Kimber, and that gun, comes up on target, the first thing that's happening, of course, is that thumb safety's coming off, and when I come off the target, the first thing that happens is it comes back on. So now I realize the argument against that with the polymer guns without thumb safeties, you don't have to think about any of that. But I just prefer the real great accuracy and of the 1911s and the thinness and serviceability. So for me, they're the guns of my choice, and not that they're better or worse. It's just what I love. So if any of you have any questions about anything I've done to the two guns, feel free to send me put information in the comments section, or send me a PM, and I'm always glad to answer that. So stay well and safe out there, folks, and I'll see you down the road.